Welcome back to Fix It All, Paul. Today we're going to be taking a look at this. This is an old electric kitchen clock that I picked up. I don't particularly like the clock itself, but I would like to try to salvage the motor that's inside for a different project. I plugged it in, it does run, but it makes some funky noises. I don't think everything's okay in there. Given its age, that shouldn't be any big surprise. I imagine this is probably 1970s vintage, whatever. You can see somebody had it priced at, I don't know if you can see that, $12. Nobody's paying $12 for that. I picked it up out of a free pile. And it's made by Sessions. I can hear some crud floating around inside. I don't know if you can hear that or not. There's some crud floating around inside. And so we're going to open it up, see what's going on inside. Probably just needs a cleaning and an oiling. We'll see what's happening with it. So first thing we want to do is just take the front face off. It just clips in place. Typical cheap plastic. Pretty sure the hands, yeah, they just pull off. A little fingernail action, maybe a little twist. The hands all off, we'll set those aside. And I'll bet that face, yeah, probably just, oh, look at the crud inside. Shmoo. Not very good. All loose little pieces of something. We'll see. Yeah, dump that aside. Now, a lot of dirt in there. Might indicate something smoked. Note this. Made in the good old USA. Interesting anyways. You know, if you wanted to keep a clock like this, you just take the electric guts out of it and replace it with a quartz battery powered one. Probably not too hard to do. So, let's move you over here so you can get a better look, because I think the lighting from over here is probably a bit better. We'll see about lowering you down a little bit too, so you have a better view of what's going on. Yeah, there we go. Alright. Now, you look inside, there's a bunch of more of this loose stuff. The two power wires, they look like they're kind of loose on here. That doesn't look good to me. That looks like it's falling apart. Oh yeah, it's falling apart. That's not good. These wires look like either they overheated and melted into the plastic, or just the elastomers that are in the rubber on the wire interacted with whatever's in the plastic and melted a little bit. You can see there's just two nuts that hold this together, and they're not on there very tight. Not on there very tight at all. Those nuts kind of are held in place in the plastic. I imagine there was a knob in here. You can't really see it, but there's a post inside there, and I'll bet that was for adjusting the time. This is for probably for hanging it on a screw to hang it up. You know, back in the 70s, these types of clocks were very popular because I don't think they even had those battery-powered quartz ones. Let's see all the crud collecting that was inside there. Take that one out. Of course, that one's not going to be as easy to grab. Grab a quick pair of pliers here, and we will give that a little assistance to start it. Now these two are just really, like, even for its time, 70s, the cheapest little sheet metal strong gravity, I guess. Cheapest little sheet metal nuts you could possibly find. Not really even threaded, just kind of formed. it's all good. And we'll take that and that out. You know, sometimes when you have fasteners like this, you want to make sure you don't lose them or keep them together, or maybe you're going to get a project interrupted no matter what it is, whether you're pulling apart an engine or whatever. Sometimes just, come on, screwing the hardware back together so you know that that and that go together can make reassembly a lot easier. We'll set that aside. And this whole thing picks up, and as you can see, the entire mounting for all of this is just completely disintegrating on me here. So this may be beyond saving. I mean, I don't know if you can see just how thin the wires off the winding on this thing are. And we may or may not be able to take it apart. I don't see anything that holds this thing together, really. I mean, this spins when it's under power, and I can hear pieces of crud caught up in there, and I think that sounds like the noises I was hearing when it was running. And this bracket, you can see, is staked in place here and here. We'd have to get that all off. I just broke one of these winding wires. And unfortunately, I think this means this is a dead project. Could I fix it if I really had the impulse to do so? Probably. Is it worth my time? Not really. Getting these undone and then getting them redone when it's finished. And then it looks to me like the motor housing itself may be spot welded in a couple of places here. This really is not going to be worth doing anything with, unfortunately. Yeah, it's not really spinning quite the way it should. Because again, there's crud in there. And that sometimes is how these things go. You get them open and you find that it's not worth doing a darn thing with. But you know, the nice thing about stuff that's free is you don't have to sweat it too much. Let's see if we can pull some more of this apart. Now this comes up top to that gear right there. See that? That's a worm gear. That banging you're hearing in the background, we've got roofers here at the house today. Putting a new metal roof on. Just in time for winter. But that's unfortunate that this is kind of dead. Let me grab a screwdriver, see if we can force that off and pull this out. Alright, we'll try putting a screwdriver down under here. Boy, that don't want to come off of there. That's pressed on. You can see that the shaft comes up through. Come on, focus. See, the shaft comes right up through here into here. Got quite a bit of play in it. Since we have nothing to fear but fear itself, or some such thing. Didn't somebody say that once upon a time? Maybe we can force it off this side. And yes, this is gonna end up breaking it. Huh. Not only did it break it, it actually snapped the shaft right in two. That shaft was on there so tight. That gives us access to the inside, which doesn't show us much of anything at all. There's a copper wire winding in here with those really thin wires you saw earlier, and these become little magnetic poles, and the eddy currents actually wind up causing this thing to spin. Kind of an interesting way of doing things. And now you can see this shaft almost comes out of there, except it crashes. But you know what? When in doubt, plier it out. There's really not much to see. Well, you know, you win some, you lose some. See if we can... Yeah, that's all pressed together. You can't really force much of anything on there. So sometimes you can fix it all. Sometimes you wind up dead in the water. In any case, you can see what one of these looks like inside. Lost cause. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks.